ABC Radio Melbourne. It's always fun to do, and Victoria. But right now, one of my favourite topics, favourite things to do in the world is, of course, enjoy food. I'm sure you're exactly the same. Some of my friends, however, love to take it up a notch or two. And Friday night Shabbat is something that I always look forward to sharing with buddies. This Jewish obsession with food will be making a full display come this in a weekend or so. It's going to be all part of the In One Voice Jewish Culture Street Festival in Elsternwick on the 19th of March. And right now, a special twist on that. I've got two, I'm going to call them chefs, cooks, sisters in the house, bringing a traditional recipe from their home, an Indian Jewish recipe, which is making a huge comeback. Welcome to Afternoons, Esther Daniels and Rebecca Joseph.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
In front of you, you have a beautiful plate with, it almost looks like pink slices of grapefruit on it. What is this recipe that we're holding here?
This is a Bene Israel Indian Jewish coconut milk halwa that is specially made for Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year.
Tell us where you learnt to make this recipe and why it's an important one for you. While I bite some.
It's a recipe that has been in our family for generations. Basically, most Indian Jewish people make that halwa for Rosh Hashanah. It's made with coconut milk. And actually the traditional recipe has a wheat extract, but we are unable to get that here in Australia. So we've modified it and made our life easier by using corn flour and sugar. So coconut milk, corn flour and sugar. And the reason why it's
that
made
must be why I'm smiling so much.
and the nuts, don't forget the nuts.
It's
and
delicious.
The nuts. And the reason why it's made with coconut milk is because we Jewish kosher food, we don't mix dairy with our meats. So this way with coconut milk, we can eat it any time and whenever we like. Doesn't matter what we eat before or after it.
Those rules around food are really a big part of how Jewish food is. So the melchik and fleishik, the different rules. So milk is not cooked with meat. Do we know why?
It's because you do not cook the kid in the mother's milk.
Oh, God.
That is the biblical thing.
Okay, got
You do not cook the milk and the kid in the mother's milk.
Okay.
So they have taken it right to the extreme.
Yes.
And kept it all across the board, just one thing.
The interesting take on everything that you're doing here, obviously this is a modern take on an ancient recipe, but most interestingly, it's this Indian Jewish food and its difference from the European food that's very interesting. Tell me about the differences of the two.
Now, the kosher laws apply to both the groups. It's the same thing. But our food has got a lot of spice in it. The Indian spice has been...
we are influenced by the Indian spices.
So
we have a lot of
cumin, coriander, saffron,
garam masala.
All those spices come in, but they are adapted to the kosher laws.
Sorry, go on.
For example, Indian food would often have in their meat curries, there would be fresh cream or yogurt. But Indian Jewish food would not have any of that. We use coconut milk and tomatoes to make our gravies, vinegar, lemon juice, lime juice, but there would be no dairy in any of the meats.
Unless if it was only a vegetarian meal.
Yeah.
I'm munching on this halva now. It's kind of got a more gelatinous feel than normal halva, and it's quite a different technique, isn't it? How long does it normally take to cook a batch of halva?
The old one, it would take hours and hours.
4 hours of stirring.
More than that. The father would take a turn,
and
the
also,
mother would take turn.
Do you remember that from your childhood? Because this is
we do.
It was a whole family event. And it would take like 5 hours on a coal fire because it took such a long time, and it was stirred with this long wooden spoon, and everybody in the family had to take turns to stir it. Because it started to bubble and it would splutter out of the pot.
And it shouldn't stick at the bottom
and it shouldn't stick on the bottom, so we had to continuously stir it.
We were in trouble.
So everybody in the family had to take turns, including the male members.
Was that unusual at the time?
Males don't cook that time. They didn't cook nothing. But this part, they did it. Yes, they did stirring the pot.
Where was it that you grew up? How old are you when these memories are taking place?
We grew up in Mumbai. So yeah, we were born and raised in Mumbai. But
do you remember the first thing that you were taught to cook as a child?
We helped to roll
Puris.
the puris,
You know,
which we
Mom would
made
make
for
puris for
Shabbat.
What are they?
That's
It's
wheat
made
flour.
with it's wheat flour, but we it's not like the regular Indian puri that you get. It has like jaggery, or what you would call molasses.
Jaggery is like
Heaven.
a concentrated extract of cane sugar,
Yeah.
and the molasses hasn't been separated
So
from
you'd
it.
make-
So we
yeah.
knead the dough in the jaggery, which is melted in the water. The jaggery is melted, the flour is kneaded with that water, and that dough was made to make the
And
puris.
then deep fried.
And deep fried. So as kids, we rolled those puris.
So you knew you would get that smell. You were walking out that it was Shabbat.
Tell me about some of the other things when you were children that you would eat as Shabbat traditionally as Indian Jews.
Coconut rice. Our mother would make coconut rice with
And who
peas
was
and
at the table
vegetables.
with you?
All
the
all
whole
the family.
yes.
Whole
And
family.
we-
Grandmother.
Yes.
A father. We were
Grandparents.
4 sisters. So sisters, grandparents, uncles, aunts.
We started off living in a joint family in this big house with our grandfather. So we had the grandma, we had an uncle, his wife,
But
and
his
2
children.
kids, and then my father, his wife, and his 4 daughters, which is 2 of us are here today.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all of us at the table, and we did the
We had
Shabbat
Shabbat
prayers,
prayers.
on bread, wine, and on banana and date, which is Hadama and Hayetz. We did the Igdal Elohim, and then we had a lovely meal of
goat curry.
Yeah, we had a lot of goat meat there, so it was always kosher goat meat curry. And
the kala that
coconut
they
rice,
use,
yes.
coconut rice,
And
the
salad.
salad. But the kala that they use here, we would not get that there. So our mothers would actually make flattened dough.
Did you say the colour?
No, the
sorry, kala. The kala
colour.
bread.
Yes,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
The kala bread.
Like,
So-
what
Yeah,
you
the
might
big
get if
ones, the
you live in
raisins.
Balaclava and
Yeah,
you're
we didn't make
We
challah
didn't make,
in
but
India.
we would make our own bread to bless it. So
The bread and salt, yeah.
salt, yeah.
We're celebrating Indian Jewish food here on Afternoons right now. This Jewish obsession with food is all going to be, you're going to be displaying some of your recipes at the In One Voice Jewish Festival on the 19th of March, as we already mentioned. Now, this one that I have in front of me, this halva, this pink, gelatinous, delicious halva, you mentioned that you've made this for Rosh Hashanah. How often would you make a recipe like that?
That is mainly only
For Rosh Hashanah. Or sometimes for
A special.
special occasions, then we would do that.
I'm kind of really interested, just to jump back for a second, about how, as Jews in Mumbai, which is very much a minority religion there, how
Yeah.
were you accepted by the other cultures?
Oh,
No
very
problem.
warm.
We respected them. They respected us. There was never any anti-Semitism. So we had a really good life in India.
Very warm.
Yeah, and we respected them. Like, we never ate beef out of respect for the Hindus.
And still we kept like our identity. So they knew, our friends, all our Hindu and Muslim friends knew that these are Jews. They don't do this. They don't, they won't do that. Or
They won't eat dairy with meat. So often when we went to homes of our friends, non-Jewish friends, they would often say, we made sure we haven't added yogurt here, or there
haven't
would
done
be
that.
no meat
Yeah.
and yogurt on the table, because they would respect our...
but no anti-Semitism at all. Yeah.
Sometimes when it comes to those cultural tensions that exist, do you think at the heart of it there is that concern that, just this difference? Like, I don't know your rules, I don't want to get it wrong. Is there any sort of like, why is it that we don't get along sometimes, these different cultures? What's your view on it
I
from
think
what you
that-
learnt in childhood?
If you go to see, we had good Muslim friends, which were,
In India, because we mingle with so many different religions, cultures, communities, and in a population, today Bombay's population is about 18 million, and we are only 5,000 Jews.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were always taught to be tolerant. We were very tolerant and respect. we respected their festivals. So I think because of that, we got along. And we are generally peace-loving. We visited their homes for their festivals.
Yeah.
They came to our
We
home.
went.
So I think tolerance.
Certain things we
maybe we
didn't-
don't have that much today. I don't know.
Well, this is obviously an invitation for anyone to come along. Everyone is welcome,
welcome
to
to
the
come.
festival.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having
thank you
us.
for having us.
Esther Daniels and Rebecca Joseph are two of the many cooks who are putting their cultural heritage on display as part of the In One Voice Jewish Street Festival. Happens in Elstonwick on Sunday, the 19th of March, and I very much recommend that halva. Right now, you're on Afternoons, and I'm going to play you a song that's stuck in my brain, actually. It's from Mia Dyson. You might remember her. She's one of our guests here in Afternoons last year. This is actually a song from a few years ago. Mia, just listen to her guitar playing. Her dad is the very famous luthier Jim Dyson himself. He lives on the East Coast. I wonder if he's listening. It's entirely